Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to Cloudlearnerpro channel. Via this video, I'm going to explain to you about Azure Virtual Machine Scale Set. We'll understand the complete details of virtual machine scale set creation and also manual scaling process for the Azure Virtual Machine Scale Set. Via this video, we'll understand the concept of VMSS. Along with that, we'll also perform some hands-on labs, guys. So let's go and see the content that I'm going to cover via this video. Firstly, we'll try to understand what is a virtual machine scale set. We'll talk about virtual machine scale set benefits via some diagrams and via some examples. We'll also talk about definition of a virtual machine scale set. We'll take some examples I told, right? There only you will try to understand the real-time concept of a VMSS. I'll try to give the complete picture of VMSS via the diagrams. And from there only you can understand some interview point of questions that I'm going to highlight in this video. We'll also perform some hands-on labs, like we'll create virtual machine scale set. After virtual machine scale set creation is done, we'll go and perform some manual scaling process, that is scale up and scale down process. So everything will go and perform in the Azure portal, guys. So let's take some scenarios and understand VMSS concept. If I take normal virtual machine scenario, if I have a virtual machine called primary VM, I will have an application running on top of my primary virtual machine. And the users will be accessing the application and hosting their data or reading or writing the data on top of the application. If say the primary virtual machine is having some issue, or if I'm looking for a high availability, I can create secondary virtual machine. In a scenario, if the virtual machine 1 or the primary virtual machine is having 100% utilization of resources, then using some cluster options, I can fail over the applications to the secondary virtual machine and I can run the application. In case if the secondary VM is also having 100% utilization, that time users will have some issues with the application if the application gets hung or application is not reachable. This is a normal virtual machine scenario. In case if I want to use a virtual machine scale set in the place of normal virtual machine, I can create a virtual machine scale set. On top of virtual machine scale set, I can create the instances and I can run the application. This application will be accessible by the users. In case if there is any issue to this instance that is running on top of VMSS, I can have one more instance automatically or manually scaled up. So this application will provide high availability for the application. So if I have issues with these two virtual machine, or if these two virtual machine scale set instances are highly utilized, I can have one more instance along with these instances which can balance the load. Or if say I want one more instance, I can create one more instance in the same virtual machine scale set, guys. So the virtual machine scale set will give us the ability to create multiple VMSS instances with the same configuration or same application. So those are called as VMSS instances. So in this example, if we are having issues with one instance, we can have multiple instances created automatically, which will help us to run the application without having any downtime. So this VMSS instances count can be instantly increased or decreased either manually or automatically when the VMSS instances resources reaches to a threshold limit. So I hope the concept is very clear and simple. Now let us see the complete virtual machine scale set overview. Azure Virtual Machine Scale Set enables us to create and manage a group of identical virtual machines by balancing the load. VMSS instances can be automatically increased or decreased based on the demand or a defined schedule, or else we can increase or decrease the instances manually as well. We have some benefits of VMSS, like it is easy to manage and create multiple VMSS instances, and it provides us high availability and application resiliency by distributing across FDs and availability zones. VMSS allows the application to automatically scale a resource based on the incoming load, and it is more flexible for large scale and e-commerce websites as well. So that's all the benefits. Let's see the labs that we can perform on the Azure portal. So we'll perform VMSS lab and we'll perform manual scale up and scale down. The first lab will be creation of virtual machine skill set. We'll understand the complete process of VMSS creation in the Azure portal. Okay, let's go into the Azure portal, guys. Now I'm in the Azure portal, guys. I'll search for VMSS virtual machine scale set. I'll click on the result. This is the virtual machine scale set page. In this page, I'll click on create button, which will take me to the virtual machine creation page. In the basic blade, like how we used to give virtual machine details during the virtual machine creation, same likewise I can fill the details here for virtual machine scale set also. I have selected a subscription already, and I'm selecting one resource group. I'm providing one virtual machine scale set name, which is VMSS demo, and I'm selecting a region for virtual machine scale set creation. I'm selecting West Europe location for a VMSS to create. After selecting West Europe location, let me select the West Europe location. Yes, here is the West Europe. After that, you can either select availability zone if you are looking for zone level redundancy for your virtual machine scale set. Since we are doing lab, I'm not selecting any availability zones. I'm going to the next option. So here we have orchestration mode, where we have flexible and uniform option. So if you are looking for multiple applications under VMSS, you can go with flexible. If you are looking for a single application, then you can go with uniform. Since we are running only one application or testing purpose, I'm going with the uniform option. After that, security type, I'm leaving it as standard. Then I'm selecting a image here, which is Windows operating system. After that, I'll go and select the virtual machine's queue size. In case if you want to have your own images, you can click on see all images. There you can find your own images that are built or pre-application installed. So even you can use your own images, or you can use the vanilla image and install your application in the later steps. So now I'm going to the virtual machine scale set size, that is CPU and memory. I'm selecting a standard DS1 VM series. Next, I'm providing virtual machine scale set login details, like the username and password for all the instances will be same that we are providing here. So this will be added to your image that you are getting selected on the above. So after you provide this, you can go and click on the next button. So here it is not asking me to select any RDP option. So this options we'll have to enable after the VMSS creation. So I'm clicking on next. I'm not changing anything in the spot. I'm not looking for any options. Disk also I'm not changing anything. In the networking tab, guys, we have to enable load balancer here, because we are looking for Azure load balancing, right? So we are selecting a virtual network for VNet resources communication. But if you are looking for virtual machine scale set load balance, then we have to enable this load balancer. If you want to use the Azure load balancer, you can use Azure load balancer, and you can see the details are automatically populated. If you want, you can either switch to application gateway also. So for our lab, I'm selecting Azure load balancer, and then I'll click on scaling. So in the scaling, you can see the instances count. As I told, you have scaling methods, scaling policies, like manual or automatic. For this lab, as I told in this video, I will be covering manual scaling, guys. So I'll be clicking on manual only, and instance count we have, right? So that instance count, I'm going to make it as 1, because when we are doing scale up and scale down process, I want to show you that instances increasing and decreasing scenario. So I'm making the instance count as 1, and I'm keeping the scaling policy as manual. After that, I'm clicking on review plus create. So once I click on review plus create, it will go for final validation. If the data or the inputs that we provided are satisfying, then it will say validation is passed. So here you can see validation is passed and I'm okay with the deployment. So I'll go and click on this create button. Okay, so once after I click on create button, you are aware that it will start the deployment. So this deployment might take some time for the virtual machine scale set creation, because it has to create a load balancer, it needs to create virtual machine scale set, and then it needs to add that virtual machine scale set to the load balancer. So this whole process will take some time. Maybe when you are performing the same lab in your Azure portal, so you, if you are getting any errors during this step, you can put that errors in the videos comment section, so that I can go through and I can give you some recommendations or suggestions for the errors that you are getting. Because I have seen many students who are getting errors in the virtual machine scale set deployment process. That is the reason I'm specifically mentioning that if you are getting any errors during the VMSS labs process, paste that error message or the screenshot in the videos comment section, so that I can go through and I can help you. Here you can see the deployment is completed successfully. Now I'll click on go to resource, which will take me to the virtual machine scale set, guys. Here you can see the virtual machine scale set information, which is VMSS demo, and you can see the overview information. So in the overview, I can see the resource group details, status as one instance is successful, the location, which is West Europe, and subscription details. And then what is the operating system, what is the virtual machine instance size, public IP address. This is the load balancer public IP address. So these all details we can see in the Azure portal. If I open MSTSC and if I copy this IP address and if I paste this IP address in MSTSC, I'll not be able to connect. Because if you remember, when I'm creating VMSS, I have not enabled any RDP port for the Windows servers. So we need to explicitly enable that port to access the servers via RDP. Until unless we enable it, we cannot access the Windows servers. So how to enable that port? What is the option, or where is the option to enable the RDP port for VMSS instances? So basically we need to enable it at the VMSS networking options, guys. In the VMSS, you can see networking tab, right? Under the tab only, you'll have to go and enable the RDP port. Okay. So if I go to the networking option of VMSS, there I will be able to see the current NSG rules. So I need to add a rule here, add inbound port rule, and I need to allow the RDP port. So I'm giving source as any, and I will give source port range also as any. Then I'll give destination as also any. After that, I'm selecting RDP port here. So RDP port number is 3389, which is displaying in the below option. Then I'm saying allow option here, because I want the traffic to be allowed. I'm giving some priority here as per my recommendations or requirement. Then I'm saying the name for this RDP rule as allow RDP, and I click on add. So this will go and add a rule in the VMSS networking NSG to allow RDP or 3389 traffic to the VMSS instances. But after adding also, we will not be able to connect to the instance. So RDP rule is added here. Now if I go and access the VMSS instance, I will still get the same error. Let's see. It is loading. but still it's not connecting because we have added the port at VMSS. We will have multiple instances, right? If I want to connect to the instance of virtual machine scale set, then there will be a public port, guys. This 3389 is a private port. So how to identify that means go to the resource group of your VMSS. Here you can see load balancer that is created along with your virtual machine scale set. Click on the load balancer. You can see the load balancer name VMSS demo LB. If I click on front end IP, right? So this is the IP address that is assigned to the virtual machine scale set. So you can see the IP address details here, which is 98.71.197.138. So the same IP address I'm using to connect to the instances, guys. So how I can connect to individual instance means I need to go to inbound NAT rule. In the inbound NAT rule, I can see the instance along with a front end port number. So this port number I need to specify in the SC application. So after the IP address, I need to give colon and I need to enter the public port number, which is 50000. So this is the port number using which I will be able to connect to the VMSS instance. See, once I enter the port number along with the IP address, I'm able to get the connection. It is asking me to enter the credentials. So once after I enter the username and password, it will give me the connection prompt. So understood now, if you want to connect to the virtual machine scale set instance, you need to provide the front end port number also. So once I click on yes, it will take me to the instance. So I connected to the scale set instance with a port number 50,000. So this is my instance one. So likewise, each instance will get one port number as the front end port number, guys. Using that port number along with the IP address of load balancer, you will be able to connect to the instances. So I believe this process is very simple and very easy. So when you're performing the labs, you can follow the same steps and you can connect to the instances by following the options or steps that I have explained in this video. So if I go and check the host name of this instance, you can see the host name as VMSS demo 000. If I go to the instance name, like if I go back to the VMSS instances page, I will be able to see the computer name, which is VMSS-demo 000. So it's the same VM. So this is the process of creating and connecting to the instances using the public IP and the public port number of load balancer. Now let's go to the second lab, guys. That is manual scale up and scale down. We'll understand what is manual scaling and what is the benefit of manual scaling via this video. See, I have created virtual machine skill set and I'm running with one instance, right? In case if I want to increase the instances count, if I come to the scaling option of VMSS, I have two options here. One is manual scale and custom auto scale. If I click on custom auto scale, I need to supply the details here where I can increase the instances count automatically. But via this video, I will only explain about manual scaling, and in next video, I'll explain about auto scaling. So at present, you can see the instance count is 1. If I change it to 2, and if I click on save button on the top, then the instance count will increase from 1 to 2. That means one new instance will be created extra because I have already one instance that is running in my VMSS. Now you can see VMSS is updated. If I go and click on the VMSS instances count, I should be able to see two instances now because I have provided the instance count as 2 here. So normally if you are updating here, you might get some errors. In case if you are getting any error at this stage, please put those errors in the comment section so that I can go through and I can help you. So let me go and click on this instance button. And if I click on refresh, I can see two instances. So the second instance is in creating stage. After a couple of minutes, I will be able to see this second instance into running state. So in general, If I am looking to increase the instance count, this is the process, guys. You can go to the scaling option and you can increase the instance count as per your requirement, and you can click on save. After that, if you come to the instances page, right, you will be able to see the new or extra instances getting created. It will take hardly few minutes only to create your instances. So now I can see two instances. If I want to increase this instances count from 2 to 3, for example, say I'll change the instance count to 3. After that, I'll click on save. Again, what will happen? It will update the virtual machine instance count. Once this update operation completes successfully, then if I go to the VMSS instances tab, there I'll be able to see new extra instance in the creating stage. See, if I click on instance tab and if I click on the refresh button, I will be able to see new extra instance in the creating stage. Now I can see the instance is in creating phase. After some time, if I click on refresh, right, we should be able to see this instance also comes into running state. I'll wait for a minute or so, and then I'll click on refresh. So once this instance comes into running state, we will look for the next options, that is called as scale down options. I'm clicking on refresh. Now I can see the third instance state also in running. Now all the three instances are in running state. In case if I'm looking to reduce this instances count, what is the process involved? Let us understand. So that process is called as scale down process, guys. So if you ever wanted to decrease the instances count, then you can decrease the instances count by going to the scaling option. So what you have to do is you just need to update the numbers like how you have updated the numbers for scale up process. During the scale up process, what happened? You have increased the instances count so that instances are increased automatically. Same likewise, if you want to reduce the instances count, you need to go to the scaling option and then you need to reduce the instances count and click on save so that the instances from here will get deleted. So let's do that. I'll go to the scaling option and in the scaling, I'll go and update this number. So I'll update this instance count from 3 to 2 and then I'll click on save button. After that, what happens? I told one of the instance from the three which are in running state will be deleted. So this instance count is successfully updated, guys. Now if I go and click on this instances page, right, I will be able to see the three instances are in running state. If I click on refresh, I will be able to see one of this instance status as deleting. Can you see this? One of the instance status is showing as deleted. So this is a process of scaling down your instances count, guys. So we'll wait for this instance to get deleted successfully. After that, we'll change the instance count from 2 to 1 and then we'll test it again. Now I will go and click on this refresh button and we will see whether this instance got deleted successfully. Yes, it is deleted successfully. Now I will update this instance count from 2 to 1 in the scaling options and we will see whether the instance is getting deleted or not. I'm going to the scaling options now. In the scaling option, I'll change this instance count from 2 to 1 and I'll click on save. So which will reduce the instance count from 2 to 1. So I have saved this configuration. This instance count reducing operation is successful. Now if I go to this instances count of virtual machine scale set, I should be able to see one instance is getting deleted. So if I go to the instances page and if I click on the refresh button on the top, I can see one instance is getting deleted here. But if you see, the instance 0 is getting deleted here, not instance 3, because in VMSS it can delete any instance whenever you are performing manual scale up scale down or automatic scale up scale down, because it will not give guarantee that it will delete the freshly created instance. or newly created instance. It can delete any one of the instance randomly. So due to that, in case if you're keeping any of your data in your instances, like old instances, it may get deleted. So that's why Microsoft will not recommend to keep your data in the instances level or to keep your configurations at the instance level. It is only recommended to keep any kind of data or any kind of configuration which can be subjected to loss, because if your instance are getting auto scaled up or scaled down, there is a high chance of losing your configuration of your instances or the data as well. So now if I click on refresh, I can see VMSS demo 3 is running. The other instances got deleted. So keep that in mind whenever you are performing scale up and scale down. The instances will delete automatic. The instances will be deleted randomly. So don't do any kind of configuration at the instance level. If you want to do the configurations, you have to do at the image level only. In case if you're doing at instance level, you can do it, but that should be okay for you even if you lose that instance or its configuration. Here comes the end of this particular video, guys. If you're liking the content that I'm uploading in my channel, I need your support in growing. Please share it with your friends and support my channel. Subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed. Thank you so much for your time in watching the videos.